several petitions for reinstatement. We're doing them slightly out of order on the calendar today. Our next petition we will be hearing is the petition for reinstatement by Luis Avalos. This is OAH case number 2020100581. My name is Wim van Rooyen. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings for the state of California, and I've been assigned to preside over this matter today. Today is November 19th, 2020. The petition was noticed for hearing at 9 a.m. It's now approximately 11:57 a.m. We're conducting this matter via WebEx video conference due to the COVID-19 public health crisis and the governor's executive order N-29-20 dated March 17th, 2020. I'll let the record reflect that we have conducted a roll call of our board members and that we do have a quorum of the board present today to hear the petition. May I please have an appearance by the Deputy Attorney General?
Good afternoon, Caitlin Doherty, Deputy Attorney General. I'm appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Business and Profession Code Section 2878.7 and Government Code Section 11522, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the Administrative Law Judge and the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. Ensure that the Administrative Law Judge and the Board have adequate information to make a decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Doherty. And then Mr. Avalos, if you could just state your formal appearance, please.
Yes, my name is Luis Avalos.
Almost good afternoon, still good morning, Mr. Avalos. And you are here representing yourself. You don't have an attorney, correct?
No, that's correct.
All right, and you are aware that you do have the right to be represented by an attorney, but obviously at your own expense. Unfortunately, we don't have funding like in criminal cases for public defenders, et cetera. Is it still your desire to proceed representing yourself today?
Yes, I do, because apparently I can't afford one right now at the moment.
All right, thank you so much. And then I'll just to give you an idea of how our proceeding will be today. First, the Deputy Attorney General, Ms. Doherty, will be introducing your petition packet and provide us with an orientation of your case, basically the background and disciplinary history. And then after that, you will have the right to make a presentation under oath to explain why you believe your petition should be granted. And then once you're done testifying, Ms. Doherty may have some questions for you, and the board members may have questions for you. And if you brought any other witnesses to testify, that would be the same for them. They would be able to testify, and then they would be asked questions by the Deputy Attorney General and the board members. In terms of the focus today of the hearing is on your rehabilitation that you may have engaged in since the previous discipline. You don't need to repeat everything that's in your petition package. You can assume that the board has reviewed that. But you're certainly welcome to highlight or emphasize any things you want to bring to the board's particular attention. Also, we're not here to relitigate all the underlying events and discipline. Ms. Doherty may summarize it for us just so we understand that as background, but really the focus today is on your rehabilitative efforts since then. After the hearing, the board will go into a closed session to deliberate on your and the other petitions heard today. And so you won't receive a decision today, but you will receive a written decision in the mail at some point in the future. Do you have any questions at this point before we get going with the hearing?
No,
Mr.
I clearly understand. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Avalos. All right, Ms. Doherty, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce the petition packet materials and provide us with an orientation of the case.
Thank you. I would first mark for identification and offer evidence Exhibit A, which is the original petition packet with accompanying documents. The board members and petitioner have been provided with a copy of the same set of this exhibit. Exhibit A generally consists of the following: a petition statement dated April 14, 2019. Attached to that petition is an Inland Valley Recovery Services verification of outpatient treatment letter dated June 17th of 2015, a resume for petitioner, and a bachelor's degree in administration for petitioner dated December 2017. At this time, I'd ask that this packet be admitted into evidence as Exhibit A for all purposes.
Mr. Avalos, do you have any objection to Exhibit A?
No, that's
All right, Exhibit 1 is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit B, license certification for petitioner. I'd ask that this be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection to Exhibit B, Mr. Avalos?
No, I don't.
All right, Exhibit B is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit C is the notice of hearing and related correspondence for the hearing on this petition for today. I ask that this be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection to Exhibit C?
No.
All right, Exhibit C is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit D is the 2010 board decision in this matter with the attached stipulated settlement and accusation. I'd ask that this be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection to Exhibit D?
No.
Exhibit D is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit E is the 2014 board decision for a petition on reinstatement of petitioner's license that was denied by the board. I ask that this be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection to Exhibit E?
No.
Exhibit E is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit F is a 2017 board decision for a petition for reinstatement in this matter that was granted by the board. I ask that this petition be admitted for all purposes.
Any objection to Exhibit F?
No.
Exhibit F is admitted.
Now I'd like to provide a brief background of petitioner's license history. On or about December 26, 2003, the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians issued Vocational Nurse License Number VN 207381 to petitioner. On August 18, 2009, the board filed an accusation against petitioner. The accusation alleged that petitioner's license was subject to disciplinary action under Code Section 2878F, a conviction of a crime substantially related to the qualifications, functions, and or duties of a vocational nurse. 2878 Subdivision A, unprofessional conduct, and 2878.5 Subdivision C, conviction of a crime involving the consumption of alcohol, in that on or around February 11, 2019, petitioner was convicted of 2 felony offenses involving driving while intoxicated. Effective May 27, 2010, petitioner surrendered his license, admitting to the truth of the allegations in the underlying accusation and that the allegations would be deemed true for the purposes of reinstatement. Further, as part of this settlement, petitioner agreed to pay cost of investigation and enforcement in the amount of $3,698.75. In or around August of 2013, petitioner filed a petition for reinstatement of his vocational nurse license. Effective March 16, 2014, the board denied that petition. The basis for the board's denial is that petitioner needed to demonstrate a longer period of sobriety. On or around August 17, 2015, petitioner filed another petition for reinstatement with the board. Petitioner appeared in front of this board. The board granted petitioner's petition for reinstatement effective January 21st, 2017. As part of that reinstatement, petitioner was required to take and pass a licensure exam, which is found in term 24. This required petitioner, in order for his license to be reinstated, to sit for that exam within 2 years from the effective date of that board decision. As of January 21st, 2019, petitioner had not passed the licensure exam as required by the board's August 17, 2016 order. License was no longer able to be reinstated. Petitioner currently has an outstanding cost for investigation and enforcement of his case in the amount of $3,698.75. On or around April 14, 2019, petitioner filed a petition for reinstatement of his vocational nurse license. Because the burden is on petitioner, I have further statements, but would reserve the right to question petitioner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Doherty. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over to you, Mr. Avalos, to present your case. Would you like to testify on your own behalf?
Yes, that's me.
All right, so let me have you raise your right hand and I will swear you in. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Do you solemnly state under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much, sir. Could you please state and spell your full name for the record?
Yeah, Luis, L-U-I-S, Alfonso, A-L-F-O-N-S-O, Avalos, A-V-A-L-O-S.
Thank you, Mr. Avalos. And so, because you don't have an attorney here to ask you questions, I'm going to just allow you to testify freely as to what you believe is relevant in support of the petition. Again, you can assume that the board members have read your entire petition packet, so there's no need to necessarily recount all of that, but you can certainly highlight things that you believe are particularly significant and bring it to our attention, or add anything by testimony that might not be in there. And then once you're done with your presentation, Ms. Doherty may have some questions for you, and the board members may have some questions for you. So with that said, the floor is yours as to letting us. Yeah, sorry, Ms. Doherty.
Sorry, I just want to clarify, maybe it's not appearing on my end, but is Petitioner's camera turned on?
I'm on the phone. I wasn't able to. I got logged off.
Okay.
Okay, so we're having. Is there, Ms. Did you wish to have some time to get back on video, Mr. Avalos, or are you ready to proceed with the telephonic testimony? Mr. Avalos, are you still there? Madam Moderator, have we lost him?
I think we lost him.
Oh dear, okay. I hope it was my suggestion. I hope he didn't just drop off the call at my suggestion. I was merely inquiring.
So give me a few minutes. Let me see if he logs back on, okay?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Appreciate it.
Of course. One
Yeah,
moment.
sorry.
Mr. Avalos, are you present?
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Avalos.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I got disconnected for some reason. I don't know what happened.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Glad you're back, though.
Yeah.
All right. And so are you prepared to just continue with telephonic testimony as opposed to the video?
Yes, I wasn't able to log in. I got logged off, and I kept trying with the codes and everything. I wasn't able to get back in, so I don't know what's going on.
All right. Ms. Doherty, do you have any further concerns or objections about that? My inclination would be to just allow him to testify telephonically. Of course, we prefer to see people's faces, but I also want to accommodate the reality we're living in where not everyone has the same resources.
Correct. I have no objection as long as the board is fine with it. I just wanted to make sure there was not a technical difficulty on my end.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. then we'll just proceed with your telephonic testimony. Thank you very much, Mr. Avalos. And nothing really happened since you dropped off, just so the record's clear. I essentially was about to turn it over to you to just start your presentation, and that's when you dropped off. So I'll just remind you that you're still under oath, and now you may proceed to testify.
Okay, thank you. I'm here because I want to get resubmitted to retake the exam, because I took it within those 2 years. I took it 4 times and I wasn't able to pass it. So my submission was just to get granted for, I guess, another 2 years or whatever it takes for me to take the exam again and pass it and practice as an LVN. That's my main goal.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add at this point? Again, Ms. Doherty will probably have questions for you as the board members, but anything else you'd like to add in support of your petition at this point?
Well, of course, as you know, my record shows that I've been sober since 2009, the 26th, which I was convicted, and the 27th when I started my sobriety, until now. I'm going on 13 years next year on the 27th. And I went to school. I received my degree in business administration. They resubmitted my CNA to practice. And I've attended AAs, and I understand my diseases, day by day, and I continue to be sober, living a life right now as of now. And I just want to continue my future as a nurse and probably get my RN pretty soon if I were to go to school again, and just continue with my success.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Avalos. And if after the questioning is done, if there's anything you want to add, I'll provide you an opportunity as well at the end. Ms. Doherty, I'll turn it over to you to develop the record a little bit further for the board if you have questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Avalos, what do you currently do for a living?
Right now, I just got recently hired to the county as an eligibility worker. Starting tomorrow, I've been doing training, 10-week training. Tomorrow is my last day, and I will start Monday as an eligibility worker for the county.
And what did you do prior to that?
I was a CNA.
And why did you stop acting as a CNA or stop working as a CNA?
Well, I still have my CNA certification. I do through registry, and I do it part-time, like once a week or twice a week, depending on my financial circumstances.
And do you currently have any criminal convictions that this board is unaware of?
No, I don't.
And do you have any criminal or civil charges pending against you in this state or any other jurisdiction?
Nothing. My record is clear.
And can you inform me your date of sobriety?
January 2009, when I got convicted on 26th, I continued my sobriety on the 27th. And from there on till now, I've been sober.
And do you currently attend Alcoholics Anonymous?
Yes, as you know, through COVID, I'm unable to attend meetings live, but I do go through online. There's a lot of meetings online, and I do probably like 1 or 2 a week, depending on my schedule.
And what steps do you take besides Alcoholics Anonymous to maintain your sobriety?
Oh, I do a lot of things. I go to church, or I listen to church through Mass on Sundays. I pray to God, I read the Bible. I have a lot of family support, and that's been helping me a lot. Faith in God is the main perspective.
And this would be the third time you in front of this board requesting that your license be reinstated. Is that correct?
Well, under the circumstances that I wasn't able to pass my exam, yeah, this is going to be the third time.
And you stated under the circumstances you weren't able to pass your exam. What does that mean?
Meaning I've taken the exam 4 times, and I wasn't successful in passing.
And why weren't you successful if you
I really
have knowledge
don't
of
know. Maybe I need to study a little harder, or maybe it might be stress, anxiety, but I'm going to make sure I study harder and do things that will help me, and I'm going to find some resources that they can help me, to how to study better or understand the question better.
Mr. Avalos, sorry, Ms. Doherty, this is Judge Van Rooyen. I just wanted to remind the parties not to speak over each other. It happens so easily. No harm done. Just, Mr. Avalos, wait until Ms. Doherty's question's completely done before you start answering, and she'll do the same. She'll let you finish your answer completely before she asks her next question, okay? Thank you so much. Go ahead, Ms. Doherty.
Thank you. And Mr. Avalos, help me understand, what steps would you take differently if the board again reinstate your license? What steps would you take differently to understand the rules, regulations, and different protocols that are tested on that exam?
Well, like I said, I'm going to look into some programs where I can probably go like a week or two, and for them to lecture like the registered nurses that do the teachings, and to teach you how to, study for the exam. And maybe sometimes I think I'm reading something, but I'm reading it differently. So yeah, I'll take some seminars and some classes, and I'll buy different books and just take my time and study more and make it more efficient this time.
And so in the meantime, during this entire period that your license has been surrendered, what else have you done to try to keep up with nursing practices?
Oh, well, I go into the NCLEX, it's called UWorld. It's like a study program. And I have it on my app, and I got other apps that, like the NCLEX, the Saunders, Lippincott, and I go through questions daily, like 20 or 30 maybe a day, just to keep me sharp.
And do you currently attend therapy?
Do I attend a therapy for my alcoholism?
Correct.
No, I don't. I just go to AAs and I read the big book.
And have you worked the steps?
Yes, I
about
have. I'm sorry. Yes, I have many times, and I'm still working them. This is a life thing for me,
And I know you just said many times, so have you at least once worked through all the steps?
I went through all the steps already, yes, several times.
And can you tell me what step 5 is?
Step 5, I think it's correlating to God. No, that's 4, acceptance. I don't really have them memorized through 1 through 12, but I do work them. Like tomorrow, I'm sorry. So, like I said, maybe tomorrow I might work on number 4. Doing inventory on myself, my characteristics. It depends on the situation.
And would you agree with me that working and knowing these steps is an important part of your sobriety?
Yes, it is.
And do you recall what step 2 is?
Well, a lot of that correlates to God. Like number 1, accepting, that it's overpowering, and a lot correlates to God. The power of who you are, what you're doing with your life, and towards admitting to your weaknesses, and just mainly leaving everything out in the open to help yourself, towards God and Himself.
And can you help me understand and help the board understand why they should give you another opportunity having your license reinstated?
Well, I think that I've done good since 2009, that I've been convicted. I've been sober. I've been a good citizen. I've done a lot within that time. I've received my education, a degree in business. I've got a new job through the county. I've been doing CNA. I think I'm a good advocate on the society to help people, and I want to further my goals and my success in life.
And just so I have a better understanding, I know we touched a lot on this, but what assurances can you provide the board that you have the knowledge still to work as a licensed vocational nurse? I'm looking at your history, and it appears that you've been having issues to pass that licensure exam. So there are some concerns there.
Yeah, well, the first time I took my exam, it took me 5 times to pass it, and I've succeeded, and I was a nurse for 6 years, LVN, and I know I have the knowledge. It just takes a little more time to study, and because things have changed, and to adapt to that system.
And when is the last time you worked as a licensed vocational nurse, if you can recall?
Back in 2009.
And when is the last time I know you just switched jobs recently. Correct me if I'm wrong, you still currently sometimes work as a CNA, is that correct?
Yes. Sometimes I work during the weekends as a CNA.
And when is the last time you worked full-time as a CNA?
Full-time, probably like in February. I was working like over 40 hours a week.
I have nothing further for this petitioner at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Doherty. I'm going to turn it over to the board members, see if they have any questions, starting with Dr. Mountain. Do you have any questions for Mr. Avalos?
Thank you, Mr. Avalos, for coming and for sharing your story with us, and for sharing about your rehabilitation. I don't really have any questions, but I will just say quickly, test the first time. I highly recommend checking into one of the reviews that give you some test taking guidance, because that may be part of your issue, is that you said you read the questions incorrectly and then you struggle to find the right answer. So there's a lot of good ones out there like Kaplan, Hearst Review, any of those that really provide you not just the information that might be on the test, but the way of looking at those test questions may be of benefit for someone like yourself.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
No further questions.
Thank you, Dr. Mountain. Mr. Durking, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much, Your Honor. Mr. Avalos, thank you for being here today. I know it's challenging in these circumstances to try to get together and be on the same page, so thank you. You indicated your sobriety date was January 26, 2009, and you currently have a sponsor. Is that right?
No, right now I don't have a sponsor. I had one, but he passed away, so I don't have one right now.
Sorry to hear that. When you had a sponsor, when did you speak with your sponsor last, or how long have you?
It's been a while. It's been like 4 or 5 years. Yeah. But I've had a lot of friends, people that go to A's, and they're like kind of like my guides, but they don't want to take me on as a sponsor because that's too much responsibility on them because they have too much going on. But whenever I have a situation, I call them and they can help me out, give me advice and guidance towards what to do in situations.
Okay, thank you. And the reason I ask that is in your petition dated April 14th, 2019, you indicated that you currently had a sponsor.
Well, mainly I called him a sponsor, but he wasn't really my sponsor because he did help me out a lot. So I kind of made him my sponsor on my part, but he didn't really take me on as a sponsor. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. You indicated you're going to begin work as an eligibility worker with the County of San Bernardino, and your training starts this month. Is that correct?
Actually, I just finished. Tomorrow will be the last day, 10 weeks, and I start my job, on-the-job training on Monday in 29 Palms with the TAD office.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So if this board decides to reinstate your nursing license on probation, you would be required to work as an LVN for a period of time. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
So would you be willing to leave your current employment and seek employment as a vocational nurse?
Oh, yes, definitely. That's my passion, being a nurse.
All right. Thank you, Pavlos. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Amazola de Herrera, do you have any questions for the petitioner?
Hi, yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity to ask a couple questions. I just want to remind Mr. Avalos that I'm a public member and my role here is to protect the public. And it seems that the main concern is that you may not have the knowledge to practice as an LVN and may put patients at risk. So I want to ask a couple questions about your tests that you have been taken. So my first question is, can you tell me a little bit about the actual results of the few tests that you have taken?
The past few tests I've taken, I've almost passed. I exceeded the time limit, 205. And I was in there for like 5 hours each time. So I think a lot of it had to do with exhaustion on my part, because you read the question once, then you read it again, and you see something differently, It's been like 5 hours in testing, So I probably didn't prepare myself for that longevity, of taking an exam. And I get a lot of anxiety sometimes while I take tests. So it can be a lot of things that really damper me from succeeding on that exam.
Mm-hmm. So what % did you get? Do you remember?
A lot of them were near pass, and some of them were like below. But most of them were, that I recall, as in...
Oh, I think we might have lost it.
Oh, okay. Let me... Mr. Avalos, thank you. I'm glad. This is Judge Van Roy, and I'm just glad you're still. Can you still hear me clearly?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. I think you were answering Board Member Amazola de Herrera's question, and I believe her question was, what scores did you get on the last couple of exams you did? Would you mind just re-answering, since you cut off for half of that?
Yes, no problem. Yeah, like I said, the last few times I've taken the exam have been exceeded the 5 hour time, and it was like 205 questions, the maximum. So, I mean, after a while, you start reading the question over and over, trying to get used to that, the time management on it. You get exhausted, brain exhaustion. But a lot of them were near pass when I got the results. And there was a few that were below average.
Okay, great, thank you. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is available. As I said, I'm a public member. Maybe my colleagues can answer this question who are in the profession. Do you know if there's a possibility to ask for extra time through the NCLEX? Sometimes, for example, if you're an English learner or you have dyslexia or underlying reading comprehension disability, some standardized testing allow for extra time. So I'm just curious if you have asked that question.
No, I haven't. I didn't really know that. So, but I mean, if there's a possibility, maybe I can have some more time. Maybe I'll take more, because sometimes you kind of want to rush to the questions because you don't want to exceed the time limit or not answer the questions. And so it puts a lot of pressure on one when they're taking the exam also.
Okay, that ends my question. All I want to say is thank you for coming before us. Thank you for sharing your story. Congratulations on your being sober, and I'll pass on the time to my other colleagues.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Avalos, obviously, the board's unable to give you legal or professional advice as to how to pursue. But I think the board member's question was more towards exploring any such potential opportunities if they exist, etc. But certainly, No one here is actually giving you formal or professional advice, but that's something you can definitely look into on your own. Fair enough?
Yes, I really appreciate it. Anything you guys can give me as advice. I mean, I take it as to the heart, not to and blame you guys for anything.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. And Ms. Carpenter, do you have any questions?
Yes. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr. Avalos.
Thank you.
Yes. I had a question on your reinstatement application. Your CNA license, you have marked on the application that its expiration date is 11/19/19. Has that expired or?
No, I went and retook the exam again because I didn't have all the CEs. So it's good till next year in November, my birthday.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
then my other question, you have an outstanding balance of $3,698.75 on which you have made no payments. Do you have the means to address this payment?
Yes, I can start making payments. I can start making payments because right now, like I said, I have like a lot of financial barrier right now. I need to start making more money, but I can certainly start making payments.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter. Mr. Hill, you're next. Do you have any questions for the petitioner?
Thank you, Your Honor. And Mr. Avalos, thank you so much for sharing your story. I don't have any questions.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Maxey, I believe you're next. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Your Honor. No, I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Terrific. Ms. Norton, do you have any questions for petitioner?
Thank you, Your Honor. No, I don't have any questions.
Thank you. Ms. Rooks, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Your Honor. I do have one question for the gentleman.
Absolutely.
Sir, thank you. I'm wondering, during, we're faced with the COVID-19, so we're in a pandemic, right? And we know that some of us, I say some, because we're, we should be socially distancing and, trying to stop the spread of the infection. But if we go into like a lockdown again, I want to know, how are you going to prepare to have meetings for your AA? Like, what steps would you take? Because we know that when we're locked in a place, or if we can't come out, or, for some reason, and we have a disease, or, we're dealing and coping with issue like alcoholism, how are you going to cope with if we have to go back into like a strict lockdown? Like, what do you have a plan? Because I know you said that you are, taking classes or AA classes like online maybe, but I'm kind of curious, do you have a plan in place for that? Like if we have to completely stay in the house for a while?
Yes, we do have virtual online and
Okay.
for AA, so I've been doing that. A lot of them are in Spanish. I live in Victorville, so I speak Spanish also.
Uh-huh.
A lot of them are in Spanish, so it doesn't matter, Spanish or English, it's still the same. So I do the virtuals. I haven't been to an AA in person since my friends told me that you can go on virtual and attend meetings there. And if you want to talk, it's just like what we're doing right now. You can speak out.
Okay, and remind the board again, how often do you do that?
At least once or twice a week, depending on my schedule.
Okay, sir. Well, congratulations on your sobriety of 13 years. I mean, that is amazing. And I know it's one day at a time, and you stay strong. Thank you.
Yeah, not 13 yet. Next year, 13. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Ms. Rubalcava, do you have any questions?
Your Honor, no, I do not have any questions.
Thank you so much. And finally, Ms. Turner, do you have any questions?
Well, my only question was related to, what steps he was going to take to prepare for the exam, and I believe he answered it. So that's it.
All right, perfect. Then let me just circle back to Ms. Doherty. Any further questions in light of the board members' questions?
No further questions. Thank you.
All right, and then you, Mr. Avalos, I promised I'd give you a final opportunity. I know you faced a lot of questions. Was there anything else you'd like to add in support of your petition before we close the record today?
Yes, I just want to say that if I can get another chance to retake the exam and, you know, whatever is possible, I never give up. I always go for what I believe in, and I have faith. I think God put me in this situation to help people, and I'm going to do anything possible to pass this exam and make sure, you know, I prepare myself and to succeed and continue my sobriety, continue my success in life. So that's about it. I really appreciate all your help and everybody's concern, and I thank everybody there in the boards.
Thank you, Mr. Avalos, and thank you for your time today. We've no additional documents that you wanted to present other than those we've already discussed and admitted, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And no additional witnesses you wanted to testify other than yourself today?
That's correct.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And let me just check with the board members. If a question occurred to anyone, just please state your name and your question. I am not hearing anything, so I believe that concludes our petition hearing in this matter. The record is closed and the case is submitted for decision, and we are off the record in this particular matter. Now I will turn it over to what the plan is for a break or whether we continue next.
I believe that the board would appreciate having a lunch break of 40 minutes. Is that
absolutely agreeable? Anything is fine with me as long as it's fine with all the board members. I do what you prefer. So that would take us back here at 1:20. Is that about right?
That would be excellent.
Excellent. All right. Well, then let's all be back at 1:20 p.m. and enjoy your lunch, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Royan, are the board members ready to proceed?
Yes, the board members are ready to proceed. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. And are we taking up Ms. Vasilev's petition next, or has Ms. Blackwell joined us? What is your preference in terms of the rest of the remaining petitions?
Let's go ahead and stay in our order, and we can do Ms. Vasilev next.
And Blackwell at the end. Perfect. All right. Sounds great. All right, Ms. Vasilev, can you hear me? I believe you're showing as muted.
Yes. Hi.
Terrific. I can see you and I can hear you well. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you for your patience.
Yes.
All right. Let me see. And Ms. Doherty, you're back on as well, correct?
Correct.
All right. We are on the record before the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California. We just took our lunch break. We're back to review more petitions in the afternoon. We've been taking it out of order on the calendar. Our next petition is a petition for reinstatement filed by Joanna Vasilev. That is OAH case number 2020100582. And I'm sorry to interrupt at this point, but I'm hearing a lot of feedback. If everyone can make sure to please mute themselves if you're not actually talking at this point in time, that would help.
I do see that everybody on the panelist side is muted.
All right, perfect. Let's hope it gets better. Okay, so my name is Van Royen. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings for the state of California, and I've been assigned to preside over this matter today. Today is November 19th, 2020. The petition was noticed for hearing at 9 a.m. It's now approximately 1:22 p.m. We are conducting this matter via WebEx video conference due to the COVID-19 public health crisis and the governor's executive order N-29-20 dated March 17th, 2020. And I will let the record reflect that we have taken a roll call of board members earlier today, and all of them are present, and we do have a quorum to hear the petition today. May I please have formal appearance by the Deputy Attorney
This is
General?
the moderator.
Yes.
I can see where it's coming from. It's coming from the petition stand.
Oh, Ms. Vassal, could you mute your microphone for a second? Excellent. That's much better. Is that better, Madam Moderator?
That is. Thank you very much. If I could just remind the petitioner, Joanna, when you're not speaking, to please keep your mic muted, okay?
Was the sound quality sufficient enough, or do you need me to announce the case again for your recording?
Please announce it again, because now it's pretty clear.
Okay, perfect. Let's do that, just to be on the safe side. All right, we are on the record before the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians, Department of Consumer Affairs for the state of California. We are here to review our next petition for reinstatement following our lunch break, and that is the petition of Joanna Vasilev. This is OAH case number 2020-100582. My name is Wim Van Rooyen. I am an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings for the state of California, and I've been assigned to preside over this matter today. Today's date is November 19th, 2020. The hearing was noticed for 9 a.m. It is currently 1:24 p.m. We're conducting this matter via WebEx video conference due to the COVID-19 public health crisis and the governor's executive order N-29-20 dated March 17th, 2020. And I will let the record reflect that we have taken a roll call of the board members previously in the meeting. All are present, and we do have a quorum to hear the petition today. May I please have formal appearances by the Deputy Attorney General?
Good afternoon, Kate Doherty, Deputy Attorney General. I'm appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Business and Profession Code Section 2878.7 and Government Code Section 11522, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the Administrative Law Judge and the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians in fact-finding. I'm here to ensure that the Administrative Law Judge and the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians have adequate information from which to make a decision. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Doherty. And now may I have your appearance on behalf of the petitioner. So if you can just unmute yourself and state your name for the record, Ms. Vasilev.
Yes, my name's Joanna Vasilev.
Thank you so much and welcome. Thank you for your patience. And you can mute yourself again.
Thank you.
And then I'll let you know when it's your turn to speak again. I'm sorry, we're just trying to make sure the audio quality is good. So thank you so much. In terms of how we're going to proceed today, Ms. Vasilev, first we'll have the Deputy Attorney General introduce your petition packet and supporting materials and provide us with an orientation of this case, including the disciplinary history, etc. And then after that, you will have a right to make a presentation under oath to explain why you believe your petition should be granted. And you also have the right to call any other witnesses to testify if you like. And then yourself and any of those other witnesses would be subject to questioning by both the Deputy Attorney General and the board members. The board today is particularly concerned with the rehabilitation that you may have engaged in since the discipline was imposed. So although Ms. Doherty may remind us of the disciplinary history, we're not really here to relitigate all that today. We're really focused more on what has happened in your life since then, rehabilitation-wise. I'll just remind you also that the board has had the benefit of reading your petition packet, so it's not necessary to repeat everything that's in there. However, you can certainly highlight or emphasize portions that you deem appropriate and want to bring particular attention to. After the hearing today, the board will go into a closed session to deliberate on all the petitions heard today. So you won't receive a decision today, but you will receive a written decision in the mail at some point in the future. Do you have any questions, Ms. Vasilev, before we get started?
I just had one question, like around, like, how long is this going to take? Because my son, who's 8 years old, he takes like speech therapy once a week, and if it goes like around 2 o'clock, if you could give me like a moment so I could put the Zoom for him if it goes past that, I'm saying.
Is all you need a minute or two at that point to have assist him to get on with his speech therapist? I'm sorry,
Yes.
I can't hear you.
I mean,
well,
if
very
it's
well.
going
Is
to
that
take
all
more
you-
than I have to. Yes, I'm saying, is this going to take more than a half hour?
It may, and that's why I'm saying if it's only a minute or two, I'm happy to take a quick break for you to switch him to whatever platform he needs to be on.
Yes, it's not time yet though, around 2 o'clock.
All right, why don't you, I'll just task you with letting me know when it's that time,
Sure.
and then we'll take a quick break for you to do that,
Okay,
right?
yes,
Thank you.
okay, sure, sounds good, thank you.
All right, then I'll turn it over to Ms. Doherty to present the petition packet and the procedural history of the case. Thank you, Ms. Doherty.
Thank you. I would mark for identification and offer into evidence what's been pre-marked as Exhibit A, the original petition packet in this matter. The board members and petitioner have been provided of the same set of this exhibit. Exhibit A consists of the following: a petition reinstatement for petitioner dated November 25th, 2018. I'd like to point out for the board, there is no attached documentation that was submitted with this time. I'd offer this exhibit for all purposes.
Any objection to Exhibit A?
No.
All right, Exhibit A is admitted.
Thank you. What's been pre-marked as Exhibit B is the license certification for petitioner and for petitioner's vocational nurse license. At this time, I'd offer Exhibit B be admitted for all purposes.
Any objection to Exhibit B?
No. No.
All right, Exhibit B is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit C is the notice of hearing and related correspondence in this matter. I'd ask for the hearing set for today. I'd ask that this be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection to Exhibit C?
No. No.
All right, Exhibit C is admitted.
Thank you. What's been pre-marked as Exhibit D is the 2015 board decision revoking petitioner's a vocational nurse license with the attached accusation. At this time, I would ask that this be admitted for all purposes.
Any objection to Exhibit D?
No.
All right, Exhibit D is admitted.
Thank you. Now I'd like to provide a brief background of petitioner's license history with the board. On or about December 5th, 2008, the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians issued vocational nurse license number VN238802 to petitioner. On September 5th, 2013, the board filed accusation number VN-2010-3319 against petitioner. The accusation alleged that petitioner's license was subject to disciplinary action under Code Section 28.5, falsely or grossly incorrect, grossly inconsistent, or unintelligible entries at any hospital, patient, or other patient record pertaining to narcotics or dangerous drugs. In addition, an alleged violation of 2878 Subdivision A, Section 1, incompetence or gross negligence in carrying out usual nursing functions. And lastly, it alleged unprofessional conduct. This matter was heard in front of an administrative law judge on September 15th and 16th of 2014. At hearing, a judge found that petitioner had engaged in gross negligence, incompetence, and falsification of medical records regarding patients 1A and B by documenting in these patients' medical administration records that she had administered medications to them when she had not done so, and or by documenting that she had administered medications to them when they had not been ordered or dispensed by the pharmacy to patients. Further, petitioner's employer conducted a medication pass to determine petitioner's compliance with medication pass. Again, during this test, petitioner engaged in unprofessional conduct when she documented administering a certain medication to patient B that when she couldn't have administered this medication since it was actually never removed from the medication chart. The reason the facility was able to determine that there was an issue with medication pass was due to a family complaint. At hearing, the The administrative law judge also found that petitioner offered no evidence to indicate that she understood the seriousness of the violations or that her actions could have resulted in serious health consequences to her patients. The administrative law judge found it was contrary to public safety to allow petitioner to retain her license even on a probationary basis at that point in time. Further, the administrative law judge ordered costs of investigation and enforcement in the amount of $5,000 upon reinstatement of petitioner's license. On February 6, 2015, the board adopted the proposed decision, and effective March 8, 2015, petitioner's license was revoked, and costs for investigation and enforcement were ordered in the amount of $5,000 upon reinstatement of petitioner's license. Petitioner has an outstanding cost for investigation and enforcement of her case in the amount of $5,000. On or around November 25th, 2019, petitioner filed a petition for reinstatement of her vocational nurse license with this board. Because the burden is on petitioner, I have no further statements, but would reserve the right to question petitioner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Doherty. All right, Ms. Vasilev, now is your opportunity to present your case. And before you unmute yourself, I'm going to have you just mute yourself until I'm done explaining. That way we don't have the background. Because you don't have an attorney to ask you questions, I will allow you to testify freely today and tell us whatever you believe is relevant in support of your petition. As I mentioned earlier on, the board has reviewed the documents, so you don't necessarily need to repeat everything, but you can certainly emphasize portions you feel are appropriate, or anything in addition that's not there that you want to add through your testimony. You're welcome to do so. Once you're done with your presentation, then Ms. Doherty may have questions for you, and the board members may have questions for you. All right, if you can now unmute yourself, and I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly state under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you so much. And you state your full name and spell it for the record.
Yes, it's Joanna Vasilev, and Joanna, and the last name Vasilev.
Thank you so much. You have the floor, Ms. Vasilev.
Yes. Well, I know I sound, how could I start this? I know I sound like maybe like a broken record I've already explained this. That time, and I'm telling you this as a Christian woman, you know, I did nothing wrong. I was set up. God is my witness. I did nothing wrong. I'll tell you, these people, you got to understand, in this facility where I worked, I barely started there. I was only there for almost 2 years. And I did things by the book. They didn't like that. And they were always telling me to do shortcuts. And I just didn't feel comfortable. That moment, that time, it was a hot mess. That the lady, Miss Venable, Dorothy Venable, she passed away 1 year ago right now. And they had us on the same account. And I always write on the back, resident refused medicine. I always wrote that. And let me tell you, there's a lot of corruption going on. I've seen it with my own eyes. I mean, you could see it with the media, how much lies they say. And let me tell you, I did nothing wrong. That moment, I was passing out my meds. I couldn't find any medications on the cart. I searched everywhere. I went in the medicine room. And this happened almost 10 years ago, you know. And anyways, I was searching for the medication in the cart, and there was nothing. It was in there yesterday, as if, like, let's say yesterday I worked there. And that moment, it was gone. And I searched to see, where is it at? Maybe it's on someone else's cart. And it wasn't nowhere to be seen. So then what other nurses would say, well, take some medicine from a different resident. I said, well, I don't know if I feel comfortable doing that. So I called up the pharmacy. Did you guys pull this off the shelf or something? What's going on here? And they were, I don't know what was going on. I mean, as if they were all together in cahoots. I was set up, I'm telling you. And there was a medication I could, just like yesterday, it feels like yesterday, when we bring this up, that resident has to take her blood pressure. Okay, I took her blood pressure, and her blood pressure was within her means. So I didn't have to, give her medicine, only if it was, really high. So that time, a resident had fallen down. So I shut down, my cart. I locked it, and I ran over there to see the Ron, which is the administrator. He went over there too, and he said, "Oh, continue on." And I said, the whole time, I said, "That resident's on the floor," and he was a G tube. Everything was taken out, and this man he was an elderly man, and me as a nurse, being a new nurse, I had to, take the vital signs and, make sure everything was all right with him. I mean, he was very frail. So I ran back at the nurse's station to get an RN and to help me, since that G-tube was out. I never put one of those in. And I didn't feel really comfortable at the time putting it in. And so she helped me out. And Ron, he just gave me this cold shoulder. I felt something, I felt like, oh no. I said, this guy's up to something. And I was talking with the other, my colleagues, and they said, did you know that he's really up to something? He already fired Dorothy for the same, like I told you, for the same account. They held us, he wrote everything exactly the same for me, and that moment, what happened? They called me back. Okay. They called me back in his office, and he said, "You know why you're over here?" I said, I don't know. I said, "What's going on?" He used to be nice with me, but one time there was a moment. I mean, I don't want to get into really good, crazy detail here, but he grabbed my shoulder one time. I said, "I don't, do that type of stuff. I'm married." And he just got really fired and triggered, and he just doomed. He did this with other women in there too. There was a lot of sexual, harassment going on in there. And Shelly, which was, working with him, she said one time that she wants to clean up the house and get rid of everybody and put in her own people that she knew. There was a lot of corruption. I'm telling you, honest to God, I'll swear on the Holy Bible that I am innocent. You know what they can do? Let me tell you right now. They can get paper, and this is what they do. They'll cover the back and show as if I didn't give the medicine, but I gave all those residents medications. Sometimes I would see when I would come on my shift, there was a whole bunch of pills inside of the cart, and I said, "Whose meds are these? These are, I just barely got here, And all the fax machine would always be off, and it would always, they would turn it back on. It would come all to me, and this should have been taken care in the morning. It was a disaster in that place. I even told, some of the higher people, I was being ignored. This was set up because Dorothy, she's been there for over 40 years. She's a Black lady, and there was a lot of racism going on in there. As you can see, it still goes on even now, with this, and it's a disgrace, I'm against all that. And she believed that too. And there was another lawyer that came in. They said that this had to be because you were Caucasian. She was the only Black lady that's been there since the early 70s. How to get rid of her? Get rid of me, So then that doesn't show racism. I'm telling you, if you go back over there and do your homework, test somebody else. I know it's too expensive. It's long gone. This is like history right now, it's too long ago. But I'm telling you, there's still a lot of corruption. I still, keep in touch with, colleagues that are still there, and they want to just leave. They just want to leave that place. So.
All right, thank you so much. Was there anything you wanted to add in terms of steps you've taken since discipline of your license? Otherwise, I will. Ms. Doherty probably has some questions for you as well, and then I'll allow you an opportunity at the end to add.
At the moment, at that time, I was trying for a baby, and it's very stressful when you try for a child, and it took me over 11 years, to conceive my son. So, I'm just right now I've been a stay-home mom, and right now with this COVID, we're doing the homeschool. So it's taught me a lot of, being paid, a lot of patience, and, because how kids are, kids are, they want everything that they see in sight. So.
All right, thank you so much. And like I mentioned, I will, I'm going to have Ms. Doherty ask you some questions, and then the board members may have questions for you.
Sure.
And then at the end, if something else occurred to you at the end, I'll allow you an opportunity to add.
Okay, sure.
Anything at that point. All right.
Yes.
Ms. Doherty, do you have any questions for Ms. Vasilev?
I do have a few. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Vasil, you went to hearing on the accusation that was filed against your vocational nurse license, correct?
Yes.
In fact, it was a 2-day hearing, correct?
Yes.
And at that hearing, lots of evidence was presented by both you and the Attorney General, or representing the board at the time, correct?
Yes.
And as a result of that hearing, a decision was issued, correct?
Yes.
And you understand when that decision was issued, there were findings in that decision, correct?
Yes.
And is it I just heard your testimony. Would it be your testimony today that you would not agree with those factual findings?
I don't agree with that.
And obviously we're not here to relitigate the facts, but you have the board's packet in front of you?
Yes.
Can you turn, and for everyone's reference, to what has been marked D07?
On what?
Let me know if you're on that
page.
page.
Page 7?
007. Of Exhibit D, correct.
Sure.
Just take your time and let us know. Let us know when you get there, Ms. Vasilev.
I have a question though. Are you talking about the petition for reinstatement, or?
So your petition packets are labeled with A, B, C, and D, and Ms. Doherty is asking you about the D.
Oh, yes.
7.
Yes.
And just let us know when you get to D007.
Okay. Where's it at? Okay.
Thank you.
This is the paper right here. That on the
It's
front
hard for us to say, but it's at the very top of the page. It says D-007. Do you see that at the top?
Not sure.
So let's take a step back, Ms. Vasilev. Do you have the exhibits in front of you that we just admitted into evidence, A, B, C, and D?
Let's see. Okay, I think I have it now.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, that's totally fine. So you're on page D-007.
I believe so. It's under like A, B, C, D. It goes
Yes,
up
but
to
I
F.
want you
Yes.
to I want to confirm that you're actually on that page, because I think Ms. Doherty is going to ask you a question about it. So we want you to be able to reference the page. So let us know when you're at D-007.
I'm not sure, but I'll do my best to answer the question.
So when you say you're not sure, do you not have the documents with you? I'm just trying to understand.
Yes, all I have is those papers that I filled out.
Okay, so you don't actually have a copy of the petition packet, sounds like.
Your Honor, I would just like to clarify that the petitioner was provided.
I'm sorry, only one person at a time. Ms. Doherty, go ahead.
I would just like to clarify for the record that petitioner was provided the entire petition packet with all exhibits by the board.
All right, Ms. Vasilev, did you not receive the petition packet?
I'm pretty sure I did, but you know, that's been such a long time ago. You know, I you know, we kind of, you know, move things around, and I mean, if you could kind of give me a minute, see if I could go find it or something.
I'm fine with that, but here's I want to make sure we're on the same page as to what you're looking for, because it wasn't that long ago that you should have been provided with the petition packet. That should have been sent out. How long ago did you send it, Ms. Doherty?
I would have to check with board staff, as they are the ones that send out the petition packets.
But probably within the last couple weeks or so, I would imagine.
This is Helen.
The one, are you talking about?
I'm sorry, too many people talking. Sorry, there's one person was who was trying to speak.
This is Helen Park.
Oh,
one of the
Ms.
staff
Park.
here. Hello.
Yes.
I had sent the petition packet to Ms. Vasilev by email, and if she would like, I can resend it to her right now.
Would that help you, Ms. Vasilev? I want you to be able to look at the documents.
The problem is my printer, it doesn't work, and I can't find no ink or nothing like that. So that's the problem. I couldn't print that. I know what she's talking about now. It was like a 45-page. Let me
ask you this, Ms. Vasilev. Are you able to pull it up just electronically? You don't need to print it out. If you can just reference it.
All right, I will get it on my phone. Okay.
Perfect. Just let us know when you're there.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I don't have to reference a document if that makes it easier.
Well, yeah, that would make it easier, I suppose. We could keep moving if you're not going to ask her. But if you're going to ask her about a reference in a particular document, then I want her to be able to look at it. But if you don't need, yeah, go ahead, Ms. Doherty, then.
Thank you. And Ms. Vasilev, at that hearing, you testified that at least in patient B, that you admitted to not giving that patient the proper medication. Is that correct?
The one that the blood pressure?
Correct.
Yes, I didn't give her. What I did, I wrote on the blood pressure, and then you have to go and get the medicine, you know, and then it's a big hot mess. They did something though, I'm telling you. That's the time when the man fell on the floor, Mr. Sang or something like that. If I vaguely remember his name, but I believe that's what his name was. I'll be honest with you. I just want to put everything, to rest, I just want to, I don't want to keep fighting, for something that if you guys want to keep holding on to it, you make it, when I went in there, when I worked over there, I wasn't making much. I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I love being around people, around the residents. They loved me. They were crying. I still heard, there's a lady that knows me and she would love if I came back, but I can't do that. I don't want to work in a place like that because it's too much heartache. I've been away from there and I feel like it's very sad, to work in a place like that.
Okay, so I'm going to move on with questioning. Regarding after your license was revoked by the board, what have you done to keep up with current nursing practices?
Well, I read literature and books and, like medication. I try to, read about meds, the side effects. And so as long as my son's not around, because he doesn't want to hear medical stuff. He's just really sensitive, when it comes to that. Oh.
And what books or literature or so forth have you read?
Well, it's been a while, but I read like Florence Nightingale, and like with medication, just to keep up to date with side effects and stuff like that. But it's been sometimes I'll look at other medical books within what I have. Lately, it's been rough right now with the COVID. I have to homeschool my son. It's been a tough year for everybody, not only for me, for you guys, for everyone. And I just want peace. I want peace within my soul with everyone. Unity. That's what I'm here for.
And have you taken any continuing education classes? I know COVID has affected some of those. Even before COVID, have you taken any continuing education classes since your license has been revoked?
I haven't.
And have you done any type of education in medication administration or documentation?
No, I haven't. No.
And so what assurances can you provide the board that this would never happen again?
What would it? Well, first of all, I will, have a witness always with me to ask if a situation like this would ever come across. I would have to have a witness to come with me, because since this situation is very hard for me to trust, it's terrible what happened to me, and this happens all the time.
And when is the last time you actually practiced as a vocational nurse?
It was around January 2012. I was on call at a facility. I like that facility. It was really nice. The people were very professional there.
And do you also hold a CNA license?
I did at one time, but not now.
And do you recall when that license expired?
That license expired, I believe, I would say maybe around, maybe 2007 or 8, somewhere around there, 2007 or 8. Yeah, I mean, we're talking years ago. It was a prerequisite just to get into the program. I held it, and then after a while, I didn't no more, because I wanted to become an LVN, and my dream was to become an RN. I have a lot of family members that are registered nurses, and I love the medical field, but also, it comes, you have to have a responsibility, and I did. I'm telling you, honest to God, I'm 42 years old. At the time I was 32. I did nothing wrong. I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. I feel like I repeat myself over and over to other people, to the judge,
And just a couple more questions for you. If your license was reinstated, would you be prepared to sit for the NCLEX exam?
Yes.
And do you understand that you currently have $5,000 outstanding in cost recovery to the board?
I wasn't really aware of that much. 5,000.
So if your license was reinstated, are you prepared to pay $5,000?
Well, I couldn't pay that all at once, but maybe like payments.
Okay, and if your license was reinstated on a probationary status, would you be able to comply with all terms and fees of probation?
Sure, yes.
I have nothing further at this point for this petitioner. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Doherty. All right, now I will turn to the board members to see if they have any questions. We'll go in reverse order again this time. Ms. Turner, do you have any questions for the petitioner?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Ms. Vasily, one of our obligations on this board is for the protection of the public. We're supposed to look out for that. So I do have some concerns. All right, so you stated you last worked as a nurse in 2012, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, have you had any other employment since 2012?
I haven't.
No, okay.
That's when I got pregnant at the time. You know, I was pregnant at that time and I was very ill from the, you know, of course, the pregnancy. So.
I see. I see. And you testified no continuing education of any type since your license was revoked?
No, I haven't, because I was told that you can't do nothing until that license is is accurate, you know, that I can get it back. That's the only way that I could do classes. That's what I was told.
All right. And are you able to properly keep up with and properly document a patient's record?
Yes.
All right. And so can you tell me what you've done to demonstrate your rehabilitation, since you did admit on page D007 that you did not administer the medication to the patient that you were supposed to?
Can you tell me the name?
Let's see. Second. Okay. You know, often they don't give the actual names of the patients. They said patient B, and it was correct.
Right. Well, that was the patient that they took the medication out of the cart and hid it. How do you give a medication when the guy Ron had it in his office? So look, they can falsify anything. I've seen it. You know, one time I saw a nurse, she was falsifying stuff, and I told her, I said, we can't do that. I said, why are you doing that? Why are you signing? When I saw her giving the medication, she wasn't signing it at the time, and she will do it later. And I said, that's not, something is wrong right there. You know, but I wasn't the type to go and get people in trouble. I just told her that she shouldn't do that.
Your Honor,
yeah, I don't need to relitigate the past issues. I just kind of wanted to know, since there was an admission, what have you done to demonstrate that you've been rehabilitated?
What have I done for myself?
Yes.
Well, I'm a Christian lady. I go to church. I try to do good deeds for everybody, help. And, you know, at the church, I volunteer and I do, you know, try to do good deeds. And this is for no money, you know, volunteering. I read the Bible. I mean, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I'm not a drug user or anything of that, you know. I spend time and I love my son so dearly. He's a big miracle. And us as a family, we just, you know, try to live the best life, you know, for God.
All right. Did you have any letters of recommendation? I'm not sure I saw any, but I may have overlooked it.
I don't believe at this moment I didn't have any, because a lot of the people that I wanted to get in contact with, the ones that I worked, you know, side to side, I don't have her number, so.
All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Turner. Ms. Rubalcava, do you have any questions?
thank you, Your Honor. I do have a question.
Go ahead.
All right. Ms. Vasily, thank you for being here today. I just wanted to ask,
Yes.
as you know, nursing can be incredibly stressful. Can you
Yes.
tell me how do you take care of your everyday stress and your mental health?
I try to keep healthy. I've lost a lot of weight, and I still have a goal of losing 30 pounds, and I exercise, and I try to, eat good, healthy, and I just don't try to get upset at, little things, so we go out on outings, family outings, and I'm a very easygoing person to get along with, so I try not to get stressed, I was a little stressed with this, but I just took a deep breath, and I was more, like nervous because I didn't know what to expect with this, but it's just, I tried not to let the little things, like I said, to get to you, to get to me. So, and I wouldn't want to like have that type of attitude, especially around like my son, he's a very calm type of boy, and I think he gets that, a lot from us, so I don't let stress get to me. I know everybody has, exhibiting stress right now with the COVID, but I know a lot of times people don't like to hear about God, but I put my trust in Jesus, and he, I've been trying for another child, so I don't want to get stressed. So that's the thing. I will shut stress down. I really don't have much stress. I don't watch much TV. It's like I try to live a simple life.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Ms. Rubakova. Ms. Rooks, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry, pronounce your last name for me, young lady.
Vasilev.
Vasilev. Ms. Vasilev.
Yes.
Are you aware that as nurses, documentation is one of the most important things when we're administrating medication to our patients?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking at your case, and it looks like, if I'm correct, we're talking about 3 different patients, patient 1, and then patient A, and then patient C.
Mm-hmm.
So in your testimony, I'm just trying to understand, are you saying that none of this documentation, or what you were accused of not documentation, is correct on any of the patients that's in here? All of it is false? All of that?
This, I was set up by this.
Okay. So are you familiar with the rights of drug administration?
Yes.
What are they?
You're talking about like the narcotics when you take it out?
What are the 6 rights of drug administration? What are they? Do you know what they are?
You gotta have a witness with you.
So that's not what I mean. When we're in nursing school, we're taught, a lot of
You're
things.
talking about
I'm sorry, this is Judge Van Rooyen. So, this is Judge Van Rooyen. So make sure you wait until the board members finished her question and then answer. And likewise, she will wait until you're done with your answer. Otherwise, you talk over each other and it makes for a very messy record.
Yes,
so
I'm sorry.
No
I'm sorry about that.
No apologies needed. I'm just trying to make sure the record's clear. So Ms. Rooks, why don't you re-ask your question, and then Ms. Basil, if you can answer.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. So when we go to nursing school, I went to nursing school. I got my license in 1990. And I believe at that time it was 5 rights of drug administration, and maybe after a while it became 6. My question to you is, are you familiar with those rights of administration? And if you are, what are they?
Well, you have to, when you take out the drug, you document it, that you took that out, and you monitor the resident, make sure there's no side effects, and then you check, after about 40 minutes, see if the pain, is gone. And then you write it down, you make a nurse's note, Is that what you're asking?
Well, sort of. So you touched on maybe one. So are you aware when you are administering medication that you have to first make sure, of course, that you have the right person in front of you?
Yes, the RN.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the patient. Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Of
And then,
course.
of course, you want to make sure that you're administering the right drug
Yes.
at the right time,
Yes.
the right route, right? You want to make
Yes.
sure you're not injecting an oral med or something.
No.
So then you have to document what you did, because if you didn't document, it didn't happen. So we
Yes.
learned in school, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking at 3 patients in your history here, and it says that these 3 people you documented, either you did document the wrong patient or you just didn't document. So are you testifying today that none of this is correct?
The ones correct, I always document it. I always document, okay? But that time, there's some I couldn't document because I was distracted. I was pulled to a side with the residents when at the moment when they found.
Your Honor, I'd just like to remind Petitioner that we're not here to relitigate the underlying facts,
Yes.
and I know it's been a cycle.
No, I understand that, Ms. Doherty, but Board Member Rooks is asking her, I think, relevant questions about what the underlying incident and what her view of that is today, which goes towards the rehabilitation criteria that the board has. So I think those are fair questions by Ms. Rooks. So you can finish answering the question, Ms. Vasilev.
Yes, like what I was saying at the moment, at that time, I was pulled away because that patient, when he fell down and Ron was over there and told me to go back to work, and I said, well, I can't because I gotta be there attentive to him. And then after a few moments, I was called in the office. So I couldn't give some of those residents their medication.
Okay. And did I hear you say you were new? How long were you at this facility?
Yes, I was there almost close to 2 years.
Did you have a proper orientation when you first started?
Yes.
Were you orientated properly?
I was, but
Okay.
some of the orientation, when it took place, it just a lot of the nurses, they don't know English over there. That was a big problem.
Okay, well, thank you. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rooks. Ms. Norton, do you have any questions? Ms. Norton, are you still with us? Are you unmuted? There we go. It looks like she's unmuted.
I think I'm unmuted now.
You are. We can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I have a couple of questions, and the board member Rook, she started to touch on it, and that was how long she had worked there in the proper orientation. But Ms. Vasilev, I want to take you back, and I understand that you do not have the board packet in front of you, so I'm going to try and just go into get something out of you that it would be easier if you could actually see it. But I want to talk about the orientation that you received when you went to work at this facility, and you were there for 2 years.
Yes.
So did you work full-time or did you work part-time?
It was sometimes like 3 days a week, sometimes full-time. So it was kind of a variation.
Okay, but you worked at least 20 hours a week.
Yes, sometimes 30 hours or 40. it just all depended at the beginning because I was supposed to be on call, but somebody quit and I got in there.
Okay. And was there any variation in what your job duties were? Like, and what I mean is, it wasn't like one day you did wound care and the next day you did med pass, or was the job similar each day that you went there?
Yes, it was. We had to do both of those: the medication, desk nurse, wound care. There was it just wasn't set up really good at nursing home. It just wasn't really set up. There was no desk nurse. We had to do it all. And we asked for to have a desk nurse to help out with the papers because that fax machine was always shut off in the morning. And then when I would come in, there were other nurses in the afternoon. Everything would come in and I would find hidden documents. And then that order wouldn't be carried out a few days late. But it wasn't my fault because that fell on the morning shift, but I would have to take care of it.
Okay.
I didn't mind.
Okay. I understand. And different nursing homes, yes, certainly have different standards, and I think we're all aware that there have been incidents in the past. However, that being said, when you are a nurse
Yes.
working on the floor, it is your responsibility and accountability to do your level best to ensure that the patients are getting the care that they need. Now,
yes,
you said 10 years ago, and you started today, very passionately, I might add, saying that you did nothing wrong, you were innocent, that there were games being
Yes.
played.
Yes.
And you said that 10 years ago, and you're saying that again today.
Yes.
Is it your testimony regarding the incident with the co-reg that, or I don't want to put words in your mouth.
And a
What
lot of
happened with
times,
that? And yeah, and I don't need to hear about the fact that the drug wasn't there, the patient fell, all of that. But you charted, or you wrote your initials on the mug or the paper form or whatever form was being used. You wrote your initial that you gave that medication. Is that correct?
I know what you're talking about right now. It rings about the Coreg. That patient, his medication sometimes would be in a different cart because he would go back and forth to a different, like, let's say, like on a different hall. And I wasn't responsible for that hall. So it was all mixed up in the different cart. So what they used to say, they would want you to take medication, like let's say if it was a real emergency situation for the Coreg, to take it from somebody else. And they all, like all the facility in there, the people, they okayed it and said to take it from that person because that person's going to have stuff coming in. But I do remember giving his meds, that man with the Coreg, yes. Like I said, what they can do, I saw them taking copies and they could hide it. They could white it out and they'll say it. They'll say anything. It's very popular. There's a lot of fraud going on. A lot of fraud.
Okay. So, okay. But it is your testimony that you did, in fact, give the medication.
The medication for that patient?
Yes.
I gave them the medication. But like I said, I'm just trying to tell you though, everybody got their medicine. Some people, there was this lady that always refused. And I told her, I said, well, we got to tell the doctor you don't want to take this pill anymore. I never had a chance to because she kept refusing. I had to write on the back, refuse, resident refuse, resident refuses this medication all the time. And she was doing pretty well, and she didn't want to take it if her life depended on it. She didn't want to take it. She said she was feeling ill from it. And when I told the AM nurse, because she would get it on the AM too, she said, I will follow it, it out with the doctor. But that nurse got fired.
Okay, I'm not asking you about that patient. Can you focus on the patient that I'm asking you about? So I'm asking you about the patient that you took the blood pressure, wrote the blood pressure.
Yes.
And then I'm asking you about the patient that you signified by that you gave the medication, and later, according to the record, admitted that you didn't give the medication because the medication wasn't on the.
We're talking about now. You've jumped to a different resident. You're talking about the female resident now. Yes, I did it. I couldn't give her that. That was the time when he was in the hallway. And that's when that resident fell. I couldn't give it to her. You gotta understand, I couldn't even find the medicine on the cart. They were gone. There was like so many pills were gone out of there. And then can I just tell you something though? There was a fellow, he was like an East Indian man, and he was really ill. And he had other packs that I started, and I gave him from that one.
I'm not objective relevance
to
this line of testimony.
I'm going to sustain that objection. We're way beyond the scope of the question here at this point. And I will reiterate that we aren't here to really relitigate the underlying discipline, but I do think, the petitioner has testified that she has done nothing wrong. And so it's legitimate for the board members to follow up on what she means by that. And so that's why I'm allowing some leeway of the questioning here. But we can't go, we're going way off talking about other patients now. That was not the focus of Ms. Norton's question. Ms. Norton, did you have a more specific, or did you want to follow up on a specific point?
I guess I'll try and do it this way. If I was passing a medication, I would give the medication and then write down and then chart that I had given the medication. I wouldn't, you don't chart ahead of time in case something happens. So in this situation, Ms. Vasilev, it appears that you charted that you gave the medication, but then couldn't give the medication because it wasn't on the cart. What should your action be if you run into that situation again? What should you do differently this time than you did last time? That's the gist of my message.
Yes, I would write on the back, that the resident didn't receive the medication because, it was within her blood pressure, in her, doctor's orders, it was stable, but I know right there I messed up because I wrote down the blood pressure, and that always shows that, I guess, that you have to initial, and then it says that you've given it to her, but it wasn't on there on the cart. The pills were not all over there, so it got all mixed up,
But you did not go back to change your documentation.
I couldn't though, because you got to understand, this happened so fast that guy was literally on the floor. He could have died, So I ran over there. I couldn't even do anything. And then I remembered that, so-and-so, needs a medication, She was taking other pills that had to be given, and I couldn't find them.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Sure, you're welcome.
I just have one more. I have one more follow-up question related to your orientation. Was it part of your orientation that you were instructed that the policy was to not take medication from one resident and give it to another resident?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't, I'm not, this has been such a long time ago. I don't remember word for word, but I would assume that yes, that you're not supposed to do that. If the patient is out, you call the pharmacy.
Okay. But then it was your testimony, or it was some of the statements that you made was that it was common practice at this nursing home to do that, regardless of what the orientation was. Is that correct?
Well, that's what others were doing, but maybe I did it one time, but I wasn't, it wasn't like a regular thing like how I saw other nurses do. I would just call for the pharmacy to bring it in. And that pharmacy was terrible because they wouldn't bring it in. It would take days. And inside of the emergency kit, they wouldn't have it in there.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Norton. Mr. Maxey, do you have any questions for the petitioner? Let's see, is Mr. Maxey still on the line, Madam Moderator?
He is. He's still on the line. Give me one moment. Let me reach out to him by phone. Give me 1 minute.
Sure, that's fine.
Mr. Maxey's back in. He's not sure what's going. He was trying to talk, but it wouldn't unmute for him.
Hi, Mr. Maxey, can you hear me now? This is Judge Van Royen.
He's not on yet. He's going to
okay.
attempt to log back in.
Okay.
I will let you know as soon as he's in.
Please, thank you so much.
You're welcome. This is the moderator. I'm still waiting for Mr. Maxey to call back in.
All right, that sounds fine. Well, let's wait at least another 2 minutes or so, make sure he can join us. And we do have a quorum absent him, correct?
Yes, we do have a quorum, even if Mr. Maxey is not able to rejoin us.
Okay, terrific, Dr. Mountain. I will just, let's give him another 2 minutes or so, and if he's unable to join, we'll proceed at that point.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right, Madam Moderator, do we have any sign of Mr. Maxey?
No, we do not.
All right, so I think in the interest of time, we'll proceed, and then we'll just make a note during, because Mr. Maxey was unable to hear all of the testimony, he will not participate in the deliberations of this particular petition. So we'll just keep a note of that. All right, that then takes us to our next board member, which is Mr. Hill. Do you have any questions for the petitioner?
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no questions for Ms. Vasila.
Thank you so much. Ms. Carpenter, do you have any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Amazola de Herrera, do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions.
Thank you. And Mr. Durking, do you have any questions?
Yes, just very briefly, Ron. Thank you. Ms. Vasila, thank you for being here today.
Yes, thank you.
Very, very challenging situation. I just want to be clear about something. In your petition packet, you indicated that your last employment as a nurse was in 2012. You also testified to that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you do that work? Did you do that work for about a 1 month period?
I didn't work there long because it was on call, and it was only to fill in a vacation position.
Okay, I see that in documentation. Did you do any work afterwards, after 2012? Have you had any other kind of employment since?
I haven't, because I became a mom. So I just wanted to be with my son and teach him. And
yes, that's all I have. Thank you very much, Rana.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Durking. And finally, we have Dr. Mountain. Do you have any questions for the petitioner?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, Ms. Basiles, I just have two really quick questions.
Yes.
One, do you, I know it's been a while since you've worked as a nurse. Do you know what would give, Do you know what we give Coumadin for?
Yes, Coumadin is a blood thinner.
And do you think some medications are more critical than other medications?
Yes.
And would you say that Coumadin is a critical medication?
It is, yes.
It is. And what patients do we usually give Coumadin to?
Well, the ones that have, problems with clotting.
Problems with clotting. Yes, so that does make it very critical, doesn't it?
Yes, yes.
And as an admission nurse, was it your responsibility to look and see what medications had been given in the past and make sure the patient continued to get those medications?
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mountain. All right, so let me turn back to counsel real quick. Ms. Doherty, did you have any further questions for the petitioner in light of the board members' questions?
I have no further questions for this petitioner.
All right, and then the petitioner, Ms. Vasilev, I promised I'd give you an opportunity at the end.
Yes.
Anything you'd like to add, now is your opportunity to do so.
Okay. Well, like I said, I came here so I could put, we could put everything in the past and work something out. I don't want to have, these type of issues and stuff that's against me. And I want, I get along with everybody. I wish the best for all of you here. I wish the best for each and one of you. May God bless all of you here.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Vasilev. I appreciate your time and testimony today. Did you have any additional documents? If you could just mute yourself while I speak for a second, and then. Sorry, I know it's annoying having to mute and unmute, but it just improves the sound quality. Did you have any additional documents to present other than what we've already admitted?
I do not at this time, but I can get something for you.
No, I'm just asking if you had anything else we omitted. And also, do you have any other witnesses to testify on your own behalf, or is that it for today?
But that's it for today.
All right, thank you so much. You can mute yourself.
You're welcome.
If you could just mute yourself real quick. Thank you, Ms. Vasilev. All right, let me just double check any of the other board members, any remaining questions that remain before we close the record. I'll just state your name and speak up.
I do believe that Mr. Maxey is back in. One moment.
Hi, Mr. Maxey.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Maxey. Are you able to hear us? Mr. Maxey, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Sorry, we lost you for a while there, and we ended up proceeding with the hearing. But as I mentioned for the record, because you weren't able to hear all of the testimony today, you can simply be excused from deliberations on this particular petition. But of course, on the others, where you heard all the testimony, is fine. We ended up just proceeding in the interest of time. But I'm glad you were able to rejoin us. All right, then at this point, the record is. Yep. Who is speaking?
Caitlin Doherty with the Attorney General's office.
Yes, Ms. Doherty, go ahead.
Office would ask to make a brief closing / recommendation in this matter on behalf of the public.
Sure, go ahead.
Our office, on behalf of the public at this point in time, would recommend that this petition be denied, as petitioner today has failed to show any remorse or responsibility for her actions and hasn't provided any mitigation to this board as what she has done to prepare and come back to the nursing field at this point in time. However, if this board finds it appropriate to reinstate petitioner's license on a probationary status, including term 20 that petitioner sit for a licensure exam since her license has been lapsed for 4 years, and include the $5,000 cost to the board for prior investigation and enforcement of her prior case. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Doherty. And because you gave a closing argument, Ms. Vasilev, I want to give you a final opportunity too, if there was anything in response you wanted to say to that. You can unmute yourself if you want to say anything in addition before we close the record.
So this is it finalized right here?
I'm not sure if you're asking what's going to happen once we close the record today. The board is going to discuss your petition in closed session later today, and then a written decision will be prepared, and you will receive that in the mail. So there won't be any final decision made today. You won't receive the outcome today.
Oh, I see. Okay.
My question was just if you wanted to have any final concluding remarks. Ms. Doherty made a closing argument. I wanted to give you an opportunity to make closing remarks if you wish to.
Okay. Sure. Well, I can, for another time, like down the road that I want to take classes and, just to have as like orientation, and I will never, do this again. I don't want to be involved with this again. I just want to live a peaceful life. I like I said, I was innocent, and I know there's always people, they're always going to be against you, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. So now I know that, I know it's a lot of responsibility as a nurse, and, and I did take it, the responsibility, I did take it. But in this situation, I was really set up, so.
All right, thank you so much. Once you're done, you can mute yourself, but make sure you were done. Perfect. All right, then at this point, that concludes the petition hearing in this matter. The record is closed and the case is submitted for decision, and we are off the record in this particular matter. Dr. Mountain, I defer to you as to whether we need to take a break or proceed to our next petition on calendar.
I think we can probably go ahead and proceed to the next petition. Did that person, were they able to make it? Susan Blackwell?
Madam Moderator, could you tell us if we've had any contact with the, I think it's Susan Blackwell.
There has been no contact with her, and nobody has heard from her. Helen, do you want to elaborate on that?
I'm sorry, what is that, Miss? I didn't hear you, the last bit.
I asked if Helen Park would like to comment on that.
Oh, sure. Ms. Park, do you have any insights?
I have not heard from her. I have tried to contact her multiple times, and I did not get a response from her.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this on the record. We're going to call the matter and and have appearances, and then I will just ask you, Ms. Park, whether there's been any communications, and if you can just outline that. And then we'll submit the matter. It will likely proceed as a default, but I'll leave that up to the board members once we go into closed deliberations. All right, and in fact, Ms. Doherty, you may want to introduce at least the notice of the hearing and related documents. What is your position on that?
Correct. We would like to introduce all the exhibits as there are multiple exhibits that
I think that makes
today's hearing.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, and that way, I don't know, that way we have the best record available to the board when we go into closed session, and they can determine whether to declare it as a default or whether they want to consider the documentary evidence, but we don't have to make that determination this second. So let's just create a good record for that particular petition. So I'm going to go ahead. Are we still recording, Madam Moderator? I'll go on to the last petition.
Yes, we are. It's still being recorded.
Perfect. All right. All right, we are on the record before the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians, Department of Consumer Affairs for the state of California, and we are here to review our last petition for reinstatement today. We have been taking it out of the calendar, although this last petition was initially scheduled as second on the calendar, but we've tabled it until now to allow the petitioner time to appear. This is the petition for reinstatement of Susan Blackwell Onstad. That's OHNSTAD. This is OAH case number 2020100580. My name is Wim Van Rooyen. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings for the state of California, and I've been assigned to preside over this matter today. Today's date is November 19th, 2020. The petition was noticed for hearing at 9 a.m. It is now approximately 2:43 p.m., and we are conducting this matter via WebEx video conference due to the COVID-19 public health crisis and the governor's executive order N-29-20 dated March 17th, 2020. And I will let the record reflect that we've done a roll call of board members. Previously, they're all present, and we do have a quorum to hear this petition. May I please have formal appearances by the Deputy Attorney General?
Thank you. Caitlin Doherty, Deputy Attorney General. I'm appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Business and Profession Code Section 2878.7 and Government Code Section 11522, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the Administrative Law Judge and the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. I'm here to ensure that the Administrative Law Judge and the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians have adequate information from which decision today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Doherty. And then may I please have an appearance, if any, by the petitioner? All right, let me ask, Madam Moderator, do we have any record of Ms. Blackwell's appearance?
This is the moderator. At this time, I see no record of her being in the audience. I have made a call out to all attendees in the audience that if Susan Blackwell is available in there, to please raise her hand and make herself known. I've heard nothing.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. And then my understanding is also Ms. Park, I believe you made efforts to reach out to the petitioner, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I have attempted to contact her by telephone and email multiple times, and I have not heard any response back from her.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Park. Ms. Doherty, I'm going to allow you to just introduce the exhibits for us, just in the event the board decides to consider them in closed session. So you can go ahead, ma'am. Yeah, you're still muted. You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry.
There we go.
What's been pre-marked for identification and to be offered into evidence as Exhibit A is the original petition packet with accompanying documents. The board members, as well as petitioner prior to today's hearing, have been provided with a copy of the same set of this exhibit. Exhibit A consists of the following: a petitioner reinstatement dated December 6, 2019, submitted by petitioner. And the supporting documents generally consist of a letter. Let me step back. I do want to point out while we the following document after the petition is a letter from the board that was sent to petitioner and returned to Helen Park at the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians that inform petitioner if she fails to appear for his or her scheduled hearing, notifying the board such inaction shall result in a default decision to deny that petition. And that can be found on page A11. Following that is a letter from Tamara Mattingly at Ventura Serenity House, Women's Silver Living, dated October 15, 2019, of her involvement at Sober Living. Following that, for pages marked A15 to A22, is continuing education completed by the petitioner between 2018 and 19. I ask at this time that Exhibit A be admitted for all purposes.
All right, and if Ms. Blackwell were here, I would ask her if she has any objection, but since she's not here, I don't find any basis for objection, so Exhibit A is it.
Thank you. What's been pre-marked as Exhibit B is the license certification for Petitioner. I'd ask that this be admitted for all purposes.
All right, and again, with Petitioner not present or here to raise any objection, I don't find any independent basis to exclude it, so Exhibit B is admitted.
Thank you. Following what's been pre-marked as Exhibit C is a notice of hearing and related correspondence matter. I would like to point out that Petitioner was served at her address of record in this matter on October 12th, 2020 with a notice of hearing, as well as Petitioner was provided a slip to return stating that she would be present at today's hearing and consent to take order of these proceedings. Petitioner actually returned that to the board, and that can be found as C005, signing that document and dating it as October 14th, 2020, acknowledging that she would be present here today and consented to electronic recording of this proceeding. At this point in time, I would ask that Exhibit C be admitted for all purposes.
Thank you, Ms. Doherty, and I'll just add that in the notice of hearing on C1, it also specifically says failure to appear or cancel prior to the hearing date will result in a default decision to deny your petition. So that's consistent with the other paperwork submitted. With no objection to Exhibit C raised, because the petitioner isn't here, I don't find any independent basis to exclude it. Exhibit C is admitted.
Thank you. And lastly, what's been as Exhibit D is the 2015 board decision in this matter. We'd ask that this be admitted for all purposes at this time.
And again, with no objection by Ms. Blackwell, Exhibit D, I don't find any independent basis to exclude it. Exhibit D is admitted.
Thank you. And at this time, unless the board would like me to, we would ask that the board proceed with a default and deny petitioner's petition for reinstatement at this point in time.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Doherty. I don't have any further questions in that regard. Let me check with if any of the board members have questions for you procedurally. You can just simply state your name and at this time. All right, I'm not hearing or seeing any hands up. So at this point, then the record is, in this case, is closed. The case is submitted for decision, and we are off the record in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Mountain. Again, I defer to you. I know we will. Well, I should say for the record, I think we will be going into a closed session, which will be pursuant to Government Code Section 11126, Subdivision E1, to confer with legal counsel regarding pending litigation, and C3, to deliberate and vote on the disciplinary matters. But I defer to you as to whether we take a break first before we do that. I'm at your service, Dr. Mountain.
Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you for your great moderation today. I really appreciate everything you've done. It's been really great. Board members, I say let's take a 10-minute break. We can reconvene at 3:01.
Terrific. I'll see you then. Thank you. Thanks, Ms. Doherty.
Thank you.
Thank you.